Hello. As probably quite a few of you noticed, or maybe you didn't, I failed to make a video last week. That's really the first real time I've missed a week. I know I've been like late, like past midnight before, and it sucks because that was a good topic that I missed, but here I am this week. Maybe I'll get another chance to talk about my thoughts on the other topic, but now we're talking about trans rights, right? Huh. So my home state is Maryland. It was a big deal that Maryland legalized gay marriage. I had to vote on it. It was the first time I ever voted. I voted for the president. I got to vote for gay marriage in Maryland, and it passed, and you know, every other state passed too that had it on the ballot. And that was wonderful. That's obviously something that I support. But you know, laws like that, like LGBT rights and stuff, as you've probably heard lots of times, you know, the T isn't silent because lots of times the bills and stuff, they leave out transgender people. And with gay marriage, you know, if gay marriage is legal and straight marriage is legal, then trans marriage is legal by default. But you know, with other stuff like discrimination in the workplace that has to do with gender expression or sexuality, lots of times those bills, that's where people are leaving out trans people or, you know, non-conforming gendered people, which kind of falls into the same category when you're thinking of it in like a discrimination in the workplace sense. And what happens a lot is there's protection for being gay, but then there's not protection for being trans or being flamboyant if you're a man or being masculine if you're a woman. And the first thing I want to say about that is that doesn't make any sense, because lots of time the sexuality discrimination that people face is related to like gender expression discrimination. So if you leave out the gender expression and gender identity out of these bills, you're still legalizing discrimination against gay people or straight people if their gender expression is different. And you know, you see that often with gay and lesbian people, that they're defying gender norms, and if transgender people are not protected, gender expression is not protected, and therefore homosexuality is still not protected unless you're the right brand of gay, where you're a masculine man and a feminine woman, and then you're protected. Otherwise, if you leave the T out, you leave everyone out, including straight people. The next thing I want to say on that topic, which is the topic, so of course it's going to be on that topic, is that there's a big debate between, you know, should gay rights continue to progress when trans rights are not going anywhere, and should gay rights progress at the expense of trans rights? Protection for everyone, including the T, like we're in there, and then it's like, oh, well, this bill isn't going to pass unless we drop the whole gender part. And then they drop it and it passes. And a lot of people are like, well, that's not right. You're leaving behind a part of your community, you're leaving behind someone who deserves rights. And probably one of the most popular comparisons that I see is like, well, you know, women and people of color were not given the right to vote at the same time. If you wouldn't have let one pass until both of them passed, then one group of people will be waiting much more longer than they could have waited, and in the end both of them got passed. So, you know, why can't we just be happy for like, the group that got the rights, and then we can focus on fighting for the next group's rights? The first problem with that is that if you keep on eliminating parts of the group out, and you're like, oh, we're going to pass a law for these people and then we'll work on you next. If you do it that way, the group that doesn't have the rights keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So now what if we have trans rights to fight for, and we cut out like a certain part of trans people? Like only straight identifying trans people should be able to be protected. Now we have an even smaller minority group that was already a minority group to begin with, that was already a part of another minority group to begin with, and now we have this little teeny tiny group fighting for their rights, and who's going to listen to them? It's going to be really hard for them to get anywhere because they're such a small group. And if you're saying, well, oh, everyone else who already got their laws passed is going to come back and fight for you too, well, lots of them will just leave us in the dust. So it's good that people are getting more rights, but on the other hand, it's bad that we're leaving people behind, like me, and we're not going to get anywhere if we're like a couple of people with like a sign like, give me your rights. Like, people aren't going to listen. They should, but you know, that's a problem that we kind of create for ourselves when we leave certain groups out. I'm happy when something gets passed, like you can't be discriminated against for your sexuality. Like, that makes me happy. I don't think they necessarily should wait until it covers everything to, you know, accept that they have more rights. Like, I saw a trans guy speaking the other day, and he said he will not get married to his partner who is a woman until gay marriage is legal in their state. Now, as a heterosexual couple, they have the right to get married, but they will not get married until the rest of their community, being the LGBT community, also has the same right. And I respect that, but at the same time, I don't think it's necessary for people to wait if they have the opportunity to have, you know, the rights that they want. I've seen the debate and I get both sides, but I've never been aggravated by that before, until I got an email from my home state, Maryland. This happened like 2 days ago. I tweeted about it. And it was saying how they just denied a bill that was there that would have granted protection to transgender people and, you know, gender expression and all that stuff in the workplace, in public, and at home, you know, everywhere in Maryland. So no protection for trans people in Maryland. We just passed gay marriage. That's like fresh, and yet the Senate won't allow something like this to go through. I'm celebrating with all these people in my own home state, like, yeah, gay marriage, and now, like, comes to trans stuff, and it's just like, nope, no one cares. To end this video, kind of, to end my rant, the biggest problem with, you know, not having rights, other than the rights that you don't have, like, I can be fired, that's a big problem for not having rights, but there's extra problems that come with not having rights. Until you're a group that has the rights of everyone else, and you're equal with everyone else, like, if there's a television show that's making fun of a group of people, if the group of people has achieved equal standing with, you know, the rest of society, it's much easier to joke about them. It's almost a luxury to be able to be made fun of. If trans people are being made fun of, but there's no ability to take a joke there because you're still fighting for basic rights, that's going to hurt the process. And once you have rights, suddenly more free speech is allowed. Like, of course it's not good to bash someone on TV. TV shows like South Park, Family Guy, they make fun of everything. And, you know, if they make fun of a white guy, if they make fun of even, you know, women sometimes, of course it's going to offend someone, but it's not going to affect anything. They already have their rights. But if you make fun of a trans person, you know, it could be a funny joke to even most trans people, but you have to be so careful about hurting everyone's ability to get rights, and it's that way in more than just TV, obviously. You know, so many trans people are policing other trans people because, like, you're gonna hurt our ability to get this, to get that, and get everything else. But, you know, if we have everything, if it's protected like it should be, if we're equals, then I feel like there'd be a lot less hostility, a lot less of people trying to make people be certain ways so we can, you know, make a good reputation, and there's just gonna, there would be a lot more freedom within our community if we just had the rights, and blah blah blah. I'm not even good with politics. I just have feelings. See you next Saturday.